Township Trustees. We have 4 candidates tonight, and you guys get 2 minutes each to give your introductions, and then we'll take it from there.
Hello, my name is Mark Burney. I've lived in the township most of my life. I was born and raised here. I think it's a great place for children to grow up. And the last 4 years I've been one of your trustees, and I just want to say I'm proud of our police, fire, and service departments, which have won many awards and accreditations for leadership, not only in Hamilton County, but nationally. And anyone who's needed our police, fire, EMS knows time is of the essence when you're in an emergency situation, and we're proud of our service departments and how they're able to afford our residents the great service that they do. Recently, last year, we reached an agreement with the master developer to development of a 50-acre mixed-use development known as Cedar Point Preserve over by Winton, on Winton near Whitaker. 3.5 years ago, we passed the Jet Z, which helped save the township from state cuts to our local government fund, which, by the way, continue today, even though we've already passed that. One of my opponents claimed if we passed the JEDS, it would cause businesses to flee the township. Instead, we've had over $10 million of new investments in the township since the residents passed it. After that, we created the Springfield Township Community Improvement Corporation to help with economic development in the township. We've awarded over $300,000 in residential incentive grants to our residents and awarded $47,000 in funding to neighborhood associations for community improvement projects. We've also improved township communications with our new user-friendly website. If you haven't tried it, it'll get you exactly the information that you want. Just this year, we're going to fix 26 roads in the township at a cost of over $2.7 million. And we continue to maintain our 12...
It works.
Okay, well, with that, I think, Mark, you just said everything that I needed to say tonight. So, my name's Joe Hunter Law. I'm a township trustee. I've lived in Springfield Township since 1981. I have a law practice across the street where I've practiced law since 1981, raised my family here. I've been a trustee since 1996, served on the board. There's a lot of things for those of you that, I see familiar faces and there's people here that know me, but for any of you that don't, there's been a dramatic change in the things that we've been able to do in terms of improvements in Springfield Township over the years I've been on the board. I see Chief Leininger in the back. Here he is up front. He was back.
I moved on you.
And, you know, we presided over the formation of the Springfield Township Fire Department. We enacted township zoning to bring local control to our land uses. We were one of the first townships in the state of Ohio to enact a property maintenance code. We were also one of the there's just been a whole host of things that we've done. We enacted a zoning overlay district on Winton Road. There's almost 0 vacancies there. We've had $100 million of new investment in the township. I would hope that as we maybe get on tonight, we can go through some of the differences between our approaches, and it'll make apparent to you which would be the best candidate. I would tell you that because we did pass the joint economic development district, or the residents did, we now are in a position of financial stability. We're going to be able to continue to provide the top-notch services we have been doing without increasing taxes. Thank you very much.
My name is Kyle Hubbard. I've been living in Springfield Township now for 9 years. I live here in Finneytown. My wife and I have a 9-year-old who, she was going to Finneytown. She's now going to John Paul over here. You know, I am concerned about a few things in the community, and that's why I decided to run the first time that I ran 2 years ago. And, you know, I just feel like we need some fresh leadership. I'm glad that we're able to finally fix some roads, 26 roads or whatever it is this year. My question is, and has been for a while, it never got answered the last time that I ran actually, is where that money was before the state cuts. You know, why we're $40 million behind on fixing roads. You know, our township trustees did make some cuts in anticipation of the cuts that were coming from the state. I believe it was around $1.1 or $1.5 million, something to that effect. And now, you know, now that the JEDS has passed and is bringing in more than what the state had cut, magically we're able to fix everything. Where, you know, why weren't we able to fix it before? Where was that money before? It certainly wasn't being fixed. It's being spent on fixing our roads. So I just think that we need to. I think we need to take a look at some of our financial stuff and figure out, you know, where we can be more efficient. You know, I obviously, you know, campaigned pretty hard last time on transparency, and I will give the township credit for putting the financial records online that they have online now. Unfortunately, we're paying $10,000 a year for a service that is offered free from the state of Ohio. I don't know why we're just not using that. But that's really about all I got. I know I'm probably getting close on time, so.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Rothschild. I want to thank Plain Township Association for hosting this. I want to thank all my volunteers, including my campaign manager, who couldn't be here tonight. Yeah, you all may know me from my work at St. Vivian Parish, from my involvement in community activities, or from my social media page. The number one reason why I am running is because I think that Springfield Township needs a fresh perspective, a young point of view who will seek to modernize our administration so that our government is more user-friendly and more efficient at spending your tax dollars. I have a few issues I'd like to touch on. First, 50% of adults in Springfield Township are under the age of 50, but 100% of our trustees are over the age of 50. Our elected representatives should reflect our township demographics so that they can better understand the needs of all residents and not just one age group, one life stage, or one geographic area. Second, our township's online presence is clunky and outdated. I know Mr. Burning mentioned the new website, but I think it's been since Tuesday that the search function is still broken. The last time it got fixed after I posted about it on my Facebook page, but it still hasn't been fixed since then. So, and I have experience building websites, and I will personally ensure a user-friendly and usability-tested site for all residents, not just people with my technical acumen. And finally, in the heart of what our trustees are trying to make into our core district, there is a very suspicious business. There is a high probability that this business is part of a sex trafficking ring. Our township administrator has told me that there is no solution to getting this business out of our township. He was wrong. Thanks to my fresh perspective, I have a solution. Section 503.4 through Section 503.5 of the Ohio Revised Code allows township trustees to create a permit requirement for unlicensed massage establishments. I have drafted legislation to put this requirement into our zoning code, and I have copies here tonight if anybody would like to see them. These provisions went into effect in 1992. So our current trustees have failed to even read the laws that they are sworn to uphold. My fresh perspective allowed me to find a novel solution to this problem that they claim is unsolvable.
First question to the trustees, candidates. What is your vision for the former Warder Nursery property?
I personally am against development of the Warder Nursery property. I think, especially at this time, it's irresponsible considering all the vacant retail and office space and vacant housing that exists in the township. And I think it's irresponsible to just develop green space because you can. After we're at capacity with office space, retail, and close to capacity housing, I would revisit the issue. For me personally, I would love to see a Charlie Harper Museum and event space. There are other areas of the United States that have Charlie Harper themed parks with walking trails that integrate his art. I think that would be a great use of the space and really honor Charlie Harper as who was a resident of Springfield Township. But again, I would have to do what was best for the township and not just fulfill some dream of my own, you know.
As far as Warder goes, I am not against development. Although I think we do need to take into consideration the sensibilities of the people that live in the surrounding area that have that have been used to having that in their backyard and being able to go back there and walk their dogs and enjoy, you know, what is basically, you know, virgin green space. I mean, I've been back there, I've toured it before, it's very nice. It would be nice if, you know, if there were some part of it that was turned into a park with some walking trails or something like that, but I'm a realist and I realize that the township does need revenue, and I think that should a developer come along that's not gonna crapify it, we should move forward with development and you know, just make sure that we're involving the community in the discussion and allowing them to be a part of deciding what it becomes.
We purchased Water Nursery from the city of Cincinnati years ago for about $800,000. We purchased some additional property adjacent to it and now have about 50 acres there. It is the one thing you have to keep in mind if you're going to be a Springfield Township trustee is we're not just the trustees of Finneytown. Finneytown is a big part of the township, but we have a fiduciary duty to everyone in the township. So we bought Water Nursery back in the day when there was no township zoning, and we were very concerned about what the city or the county of Hamilton County might let go in there with a bad developer. We've controlled it, and we're very respectful. We've looked at the possibility. I think it's in the long-term best interest, not only of Springfield Township, but also Finneytown, if we can develop it. Sooner or later, something is going to happen to it, and under the current plans we have, more than 30% of the land would be preserved as parks, green space, walking trails, things of that nature. And I am committed. We had a neighborhood master plan where we had 50 people from all segments of the community come together. We allowed for people from the water group to bring in one of their experts and talk, and at the end of that, it was unanimous from that group of 50 residents throughout the township that there should be a development. It needs to be something that meets the needs. We're having a lot of people say there needs to be new empty nester housing to retain our residents. And I would only approve a development there if it's something that's going to really move the needle, be catalytic, and help Springfield Township move forward. Otherwise, I'm in no hurry to develop it unless the right thing happens. Thank you.
I think that we have tried to keep the water people involved in it, the people that live around it. And one of the things, ironically, we have talked about possibly definitely having some sort of walking trails, but also Charlie Harper Museum is a possibility there. But we're also going to build some homes that are, you know, patio type homes that are a little higher dollar value for some of our residents who don't have children anymore, would like to move somewhere a little smaller and stay in the township. So it's not like there's houses like that all around the township for them to move to. It really would be something new and innovative. And as Joe said, we're not going to vote for a plan that just lets a developer go do what they want. We have approval over anything they do, any restaurant they put in there or anything else that they do. So we didn't just rubber stamp a developer, hey, go have fun with this property. We're actually looking at every single piece, and that's probably part of the reason it's taking so long. And some of the people think we're not telling them what's going on, but the master plan we had is still pretty much in place, and we're going to keep some green space. We'd like to have some sort of a park area or a amphitheater type situation. None of the trustees know at this point whether that's possible, how that's going to work, but we are going to keep the people involved and let them know as we progress to make sure that their input is heard, and that's all I have.
There are a couple of quality of life issues that folks have been asking about on this card. One, Rumpke regularly picks up our trash at 4:30 a.m., which is well before the 6 a.m. time in the contract. Why can't Springfield Township make Rumpke comply with the contract? That's number one. Number two, what can the township do to get rid of those house for sale signs that, I know the Phoenix Town City Association, we have a sniper that goes down and gets the signs, but what can you guys, is there any kind of law or anything you can do to pass some help for us residents to get the light of these signs out of here? So the sign question and the Rumpke question.
The Rumpke question is easy. We could definitely enforce the contract that we have with Rumpke and make them not pick up garbage before 6 a.m. As far as the signs, they're put in right-of-ways, and like some political signs get put there, and it's really not, we don't really have the ability to take them. We have to have the county engineer's office, which we have talked to and asked him to do that, but we don't really have an ability to take those signs down, or obviously we would.
I would agree with Mark Burning. We entered into the garbage aggregation program to save money for township residents. For the average person, you save somewhere between $60 and $100 a year. We've increased recycling 133% when they made recycling a part of the contract. Obviously, we have contractual provisions in there. We did this with Coleraine and Ross Township. The three of us together did this. And we can enforce those. And I know what you're talking about. I live right, I received an email. Chris, you're laughing. I received an email right around the corner. I live right around the corner.
5 months I've been complaining about this, 5 months. So make them comply.
The first email that I saw was dated October the 9th.
Okay, but I've been talking to Cindy at the township.
Okay.
And I called Rumpke, who said there's no time provisions in the contract.
It did not, that has not gotten to me, and I haven't read that contract tonight, so we would have to look at the contract and see what are the specifics in the contract. But certainly if they've agreed to certain things, then they need to abide by what their responsibilities are.
They've changed in our neighborhood, though. They're now coming in the afternoon, and they were coming between 4:30, like 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're not now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
4:30 on my street.
As far as the signs go, I don't know where I am on time, but we'll we can do our best on those. They are typically, you're going to see those in the right-of-ways of the county roads. You got to remember in Springfield Township, if the road has a center line on it, it's a county road. It's not a township road. We tend to be the ones back in the subdivisions. Those are our roads. But we can talk to the county as far as having them remove those things. I know that Robin's been real instrumental in that over the years, but they kind of pop up like weeds. But thank you.
Is it illegal to have those signs? I mean, can you call them and say, stop putting your signs in our neighborhood?
Nancy, I would think that's a good point. I don't know that it would do a whole lot of good. The people that, just slap those things all over. You're talking about the signs where it's like, new house for $20,000 or we buy cheap houses.
Right.
Yeah. And that's not peculiar to Springfield Township. These people do that everywhere. I run into them all the time in my law practice. They're constantly calling me wanting to know if we have any cheap houses, it's crazy, but yeah. So,
Unfortunately, the county has never enforced it.
Well, is there a law that, if we call the police and say, hey, could you call these people and tell them to stop it, or there'll be some litigation?
Well,
Is there a lawsuit?
I don't know, but I know the county is in charge of it. I mean, there's sometimes they put a political sign in a right-of-way, and you'll still see it there in January.
Well,
The election was over
it's
2 months
not
ago.
even the political signs or it's sort of, the crap signs.
In fairness, we've gotten behind with the Snipe Side Brigade since the passing of Sue Homer. I would give Sue credit, that was really her baby, but we'll get out and do a run.
Now,
Thank you,
Robin,
folks.
we do it every week,
I know.
EMP.
And
Thank you, Robin.
my end is behind.
We shall continue.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I've also experienced the issue with Rumpke coming early in the morning on Mondays. I live over on Pringle, and it's every time. it is an inconvenience. It wakes me up, and you know, I tend to just roll over and fall back to sleep. But if there is a provision in the contract, and I think I remember when those meetings were going on, that there was I don't remember what the time was, but you know, certainly we need to make sure that Rumpke is you know, following the contract and enforce that provision if that's in there. As far as the signs go, I personally think it's a little bit of a cop-out that the township would say, oh, we don't do anything about that. I mean, we have our service department out all over the township all the time. Why can't they just, while they're out there, yank those? Or, you know, like having the group, like Robin said, you know, have a group go around and take them. I know Bill McMahon, that lives over on Timber Mill, used to do a whole lot of that. You know, there's nothing that's prohibiting citizens certainly from going around and taking the signs and getting them out of the community. So, you know, maybe we could organize a group that does that periodically.
As far as the Rumpke thing, I'd love to speak to you after this, and yeah.
If I've been planning for 5 months.
Yeah, that's frankly, that's ridiculous. If I was a trustee, you would be able to call, you would be able to send me a Facebook message, like, and say, hey, what are you doing about this, Chelsea? Get this taken care of. And I wouldn't get off the phone with Rumpke until, I mean, shoot, I'd sit in your driveway, if you wouldn't mind, at 4 o'clock in the morning, like, waiting, like, hey, what are you guys doing here? Yeah, you know, I mean, and I've been hearing from residents that all over on my walks canvassing that they don't feel heard, they don't feel like they can reach out to their trustees and actually get a response from them. So that's one of the reasons why I'm running, because you should be able to get in touch with them.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I emailed 4 people on Monday, no one responded.
Yeah, I've not ever had luck emailing anybody. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. And yeah, if I'm elected, I'll make sure that that does not happen again. With the signs, I just think it's kind of lame to pass responsibility for everything off to the county. I understand that it's a problem, but like was said, I mean, why not call these people and say, stop putting your signs up, they make our township look like garbage. I just don't understand this laissez-faire attitude to just pass everything off and say it's not your responsibility, or oh, you didn't know about it, or oh this, or oh that, you know. I just don't get that, and I think that Springfield Township residents deserve better and deserve somebody who's not just going to brush things off and say that they can't do anything about it or they didn't hear anything about it. Yeah.
2017. General question coming up, what are the 1 or 2 things that you could do as a trustee to improve the quality of life for township residents? Robin? Excuse me? What are the 1 or 2 things that you can do as a trustee to improve the quality of life for township residents?
So my big one is the website. Again, I know that it's been said that we've just got a new one, but it's not very good. Some of the information still hasn't been updated. Some of it's 10 years old. There are businesses on there that have not been in the township for 10 years. So that's just kind of silly. So that would be the big thing, making it more user-friendly, doing usability testing with residents, which I would say or have whoever's doing it, make sure that they have residents that are average computer skills, get on the website and see if they can access what they need, as opposed to just assuming the site's done when you're personally done designing it. And I've heard from residents that they're very dissatisfied with that, and there are other local townships and cities that have much nicer websites than we do, and there's absolutely no reason why we can't do better for you guys. Besides that, just being there, being accessible, being able, like I was saying before, I have heard from so many residents that they call with complaints and they just get brushed off, told that it's a county problem. They call because the house next door to them has been vacant for years and the township maybe comes and mows it once every year. And every time they call, they get treated like the township doesn't even know this is a problem. Like, oh, this is a new thing, we haven't heard about this. And I just think that's horrible. I think that it's horrible that people feel so dissatisfied, feel like they really aren't heard and they can't reach out to and connect with their elected officials. And as trustee, I'll be a Facebook message away or email away.
Roads. We need to get our roads fixed. There's no reason that the amount of money that our township brings in every year that we can't tackle this issue. You know, we have made a dent in it this year. I'll give them that. But I want to take it further. In addition to that, transparency, the open checkbook, I think we should be using the state's website, not paying $10,000 a year for OpenGov. We should be updating it monthly. I went and looked at it right before I came here tonight. There's no entry in there since June. I mean, that's the most recent that it was updated. The township said initially when they bought the OpenGov subscription, they were using it as an internal tool. I don't know if the internal part of it's updated, but the external part, the customer-facing part, certainly is not. They say that there's not very many people looking at the information on there and all that kind of thing. It doesn't matter. The information should be out there, especially, it's 2017. I mean, with all the technological advances and, Chelsea touched on this a little bit with Facebook and all that kind of thing. All of this information should be accessible at your fingertips. And it also bothers me that, they say they're using it as an internal tool. Well, they've also, their main accounting package is UAN, which is provided by the state. So it kind of seems like to me they've got their internal accounting software, and then they've kind of got something else that's for the rest of us that has not all the information, and that's troublesome to me. On the state's website, it would have a description of what all the checks are for. There used to be a purpose column on the township site that was empty. I pointed that out in an op-ed that I wrote, and their solution to that was just to remove the column rather than populate the information. So I think that needs to be changed. The website that Chelsea was talking about also costs the township thousands of dollars a year also. I saw one of the checks on there. There was like 3 checks in 1 month, $3,500, $2,500. There was like another $1,000 check to Civic Plus. We're paying a lot for what's kind of a crappy website.
On the issue of roads, you need to get the facts. I've heard Mr. Hubbard repeat this numerous times at meetings, and it's just not the facts. He says, where did the township go with all the money before the JEDS was passed? The fact is, from 2000 to the present time, we spent $1,574,599 per year on roads. The last time we passed a road levy was in 1996. We have a 1 mil levy that brings in about $500,000. Not near enough to fix all the roads. We have a lot of bad roads because Springfield Township was built all about the same time. We have a lot of our communities and the roads are kind of going bad at the same time. 4 times as trustees, we went to the voters and said, we need some more money to get the roads fixed. You've got to remember, as a trustee, I can't pass a tax. I can propose it, and it's up to the voters on whether or not they want it. In township government, you get to pick what your level of services are. 4 times the voters said, no, we don't want to pay more taxes for roads. It narrowly was defeated each time, but that's the reality. So what have we done? The JEDS has brought in more money, and it's a good thing that we have the JEDS. I know Mr. Hubbard, if we didn't have the JEDS, we would be out of luck. The Springfield Township would have been done. And they cut 35% of our budget, and it was only because we were able to make what was not a popular decision, get it passed, that we're able to put more money towards our roads. We put in this past year $2.2 million on road repairs, and we think that we'll be able to do more in the future. We've adopted a unique program where we're saying to our residents, if you put up a small amount yourself as a voluntary assessment, we'll match it with state money, with grants, and we've been able to improve over 100 roads in the last 4 years. We think we'll do more here in the future. Thank you. I'd like to just, at some point I hope we can come back to the OpenGov, because the facts that you're hearing on that are just wrong. And I'd like to be able to tell you that.
A couple of things. We would continue to work on the roads with the innovative idea Joe just explained to you. There's a new thing that we just started, and where we've asked 5 communities if they're interested in doing it, we've had over 90% of the people raise their hand and say, let's do it right now, because A, they know they're going to get their roads done now, and B, they can pay it over a number of years, and it's usually somewhere between $60 and $85 a year for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then they get their road done. And so far, they've been very happy with that. The other piece of the puzzle, I think, is economic development. And there's some exciting things happening. Hopefully, they'll come to fruition in the township. That would be very exciting for everyone. We can't talk about it because legally it's under contract, whatever you want to call it, and we're not allowed to speak about it. But we're pretty excited about that. So I would say continue to work on the roads and the economic development piece, which the Community Improvement Corporation has allowed us to do. Thank you.
Well, we're almost out of time. We've got about 2 or 3 minutes, so let's just take a minute each and just do a summary about why we should elect you and what unique gifts you might bring.
My wife will tell you I don't have any gifts, but I think that what we've done in the last 4 years, especially with the roads, Mr. Hufford attacks everything we do, so it's not a surprise he talks about the roads, but what we've done in the last 4 years has been unbelievable compared to what we were spending on roads because of the fact that the 1 mil levy brings in about $500,000 a year for all the roads in the township. And I think that we need to continue to do that in the economic development. $10 million in the last 4 years is not as much as we want, but it's certainly more than what we were doing. And so we're excited about the future, and I'm happy to be part of it if you'll let me.
Well, thank you. I want to thank all of you for coming this evening. This is a candidates night, so you need to be looking at all of us and figuring out who do I want to lead us into the future. I can tell you that we have, as one of your elected officials, we've got the proven leadership and the successes to back up what we've done over the last many years. But when you're thinking about who's the best candidate, you got to ask yourself: is this guy telling you the truth, or is it not? And the whole thing about the OpenGov, what he's stating isn't true. We created we took the OpenGov software and we made it better. The state program just shows checks. That's only part of the issue. We show revenues. If you look at our website, the Springfield Township website, you can understand something about government. This UAN program that we have to use for the state auditor, we have 50-some funds. Nobody could understand the UAN program. It's gibberish to the average person. And we adopted the OpenGov. We use it as an internal tool. The township's a $22 million a year business. It's very helpful to our managers in tracking the revenues and expenses. So, thank you.
I'd just like to say that I think it's time for some change around here. You know, when Mark ran initially in 2011, he said that he wanted to be part of that change, that the management hadn't changed in the township for 15 years. He wrote an op-ed in Community Press. It was published in November 2nd of 2011. I remember reading it. You know, and then his first action when he got on the board in January of the next year was to vote to put a new tax on the ballot.
Actually, I didn't. The residents voted the tax in.
You voted to put it on the ballot.
I did. And
that's what I said.
But as I told you a long time ago, we put a
I
lot of
didn't
things
interrupt
on
you,
the
Mark.
ballot. The residents decide.
Mark, I didn't interrupt you.
Well, quit lying.
I'm not lying. You put it on the ballot.
That's not fair.
As far as the OpenGov thing is concerned, it has the state's website has the same graphs and all the pretty colors and everything on there as the OpenGov subscription, but it's free. You know, so I think we should at least consider, you know, utilizing that. And the other thing that I was going to, touch on was, you know, I've heard this a lot back when the JEDS thing was going on. Oh, they're cutting 35% of our budget. It's 35% of one fund. They make it sound like it's 35% of the whole township budget. That's just simply not the case. It was just from the general fund, and it was. I've heard anywhere from $2.1 to $2.6 million a year. The JEDS is completely replacing that now. But I ask for your vote November 7th. Kyle Hubbard.
I think it's funny that nobody addressed any of my points about Asian Body Works, which I mentioned earlier, or residents not feeling heard. And it's nice that the boys argued over here and gave us a good laugh. But I think you guys all have a choice in this election. You can choose to move forward and bring Springfield Township into the future. Choose to elect a trustee who values the internet and modern technology, or someone that's going to keep rehashing the same old things. You can choose to elect a trustee who's willing to do the research, who saw a sketchy business in her neighborhood and went and did the research and found out that they have ads on Backpage, which is a website that hosts prostitution ads. And a trustee that did the research and found a way to solve and get rid of that very sketchy business, which I think it's ridiculous that particularly Mr. Honor Law has not found a solution to this in the time he's been trustee, considering that this ability to pass this permit requirement has existed for over 25 years and he is a lawyer. You have a choice. I hope you make the right one.
Thank you, folks. Excellent presentation tonight by the trustee candidates. So give them a big round of applause.